or Erastus. ʻdiːf Smith was an American frontiersman noted for his part in the Texas Revolution and the Army of the Republic of Texas. He fought at the Grass Fight and the Battle of San Jacinto. After the war, ʻdiːf Smith led a company of Texas Rangers. His name was generally pronounced DEEF. Biography. Smith was born in Dutchess County, New York to Caleb and Mary Smith. In 1798, his family moved to Port Gibson, Mississippi, near Natchez. He came to Texas in 1821 for health reasons, but returned to Natchez in 1822. His health apparently recovered, except for a partial loss of hearing, hence the nickname ʻdiːf. Smith, also known as El Sordo, appeared in many areas of Mexican Texas and was in most significant actions related to development of the region both under Mexico and during evolution of independence. At San Jose Mission, he introduced a fine stock of Muley cattle from Louisiana to the San Antonio area, where the Longhorn breed was previously popular. He used San Antonio-de-Bera as a base. Smith's family lived at the southwest corner of Presa and Nueva Streets in San Antonio-de-Bera. Family. In 1822, Smith married a Tejana, Guadalupe Ruiz de Duran, the daughter of Salvador Ruiz de Castaneda and Maria Ignacia Roblo. Guadalupe was the widow of José María Vicente Duran, by whom she had 3 children, Refugia, Josefa, and Lucinda. The Smiths had 4 children: Susan Concepcion, Gertrudes, Travis and Simona. Susan C. Smith married Nathaniel Fisk in 1839. After her death, Fisk married her sister, Simona, on August 1, 1849. ʻdiːf Smith moved freely between both Anglo and Hispanic Taíno societies, was known to be a man of few words, fiercely loyal to his superiors and dedicated to the job at hand. Because of his knowledge of both Anglo and Hispanic cultures and the terrain of Texas, he served as a guide, scout, and spy. Texan Army. Even as many Texas settlers formed an army and marched on San Antonio-de-Bera, Smith originally intended to remain neutral. He changed his mind after the Texian Army, led by Stephen F. Austin, initiated a siege of Bera. As the siege began, Smith and his son-in-law Hendrik Arnold were absent from town on a hunting trip. The Mexican army increased security in the town, and refused to allow Smith and Arnold to return to their homes within the city. An indignant Smith immediately joined the Texian army. He wrote to Austin, "I told you yesterday that I would not take sides in this war, but, sir, I now tender you my services as the Mexicans acted rascally with me." His intelligence gathering was important at the Battle of Concepcion. In October 1835, he discovered the mule train that brought on the Grass Fight, and in December 1835 he guided troops into San Antonio in the siege and Battle of Bera, where he was wounded atop the Veramendi house at the same time that Ben Milam was killed. After the evacuation of Centralista troops from San Antonio in the latter engagement, he moved his family to Columbia. At the Alamo, he served as a courier to William Barrett Travis and carried Travis's letter from the Alamo on February 15, 1836. He met General Sam Houston at Gonzales after the signing of the Texan Declaration of Independence at Washington on the Brazos, Texas. Dispatched back to Bera, Houston relied on Smith to determine the fate of the Alamo garrison. He met and escorted Mrs. Almeron Dickinson and party to report to General Houston in Gonzales regarding the fate of the Alamo defenders. Cavalry Company. In Gonzales, Smith was assigned to Captain Kahn's Cavalry Company of the 1st Regiment of Volunteers and placed in command of new recruits. Smith operated continuously on the way to Tat, and after the Battle of San Jacinto with small groups of volunteers from the cavalry unit and sometimes other units, successfully generating intelligence and special missions almost continuously. At Harrisburg, he captured a Mexican courier with dispatches revealing the strength and position of Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna's army. On the 21st of April, prior to the Battle of San Jacinto, he and his men destroyed Vince's Bridge, the means of any retreat or reinforcements of both armies. He joined his unit to participate in the main battle. He was the courier that took the captured Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna's orders to General Philo Sola's army to retreat from Texas. He captured General Cos, who had escaped from the main battle. Laredo, Texas. After the Battle of San Jacinto, ~DEEF Smith returned to Columbia and later moved to Richmond, Indiana, Fort Bend County. Shortly before his death, Smith raised a company of 20 Texas Rangers, who fought on March 17, 1837, near what is now the Laredo International Airport in Laredo, against a superior Mexican force. 2 of Smith's men were wounded, and 10 Mexicans were killed and 10 others injured. Smith also captured 40 horses. This incident occurred nearly a year after General Lopez de Santa Anna had surrendered at San Jacinto to General Sam Houston. Smith at the time offered no further resistance against the Mexicans, and he guided the Texans back to San Antonio. The Republic of Texas legislature in November 1836 had granted Smith any house and lot in the city of Beara, which may be confiscated for public use. Smith died in Richmond, Texas, at age of 50, at the home of Randall Jones. He is buried in the Episcopal churchyard with a modest marker. ~DEEF Smith, the Texas spy, died November 30, 1837. His widow chose the old Granado home place at the southeast corner of Main Plaza and Commerce Street in San Antonio. Smith was also granted land for his service to the Texas Republic. His widow returned to San Antonio, died there on May 1, 1849, and is interred at the Catholic Cemetery. Posthumous legacy. ~DEEF Smith County, Texas is named in his honor, which, unlike his nickname, is pronounced by most residents as DEEF, DEEF. Likewise, a brand of peanut butter known as ~DEEF Smith was manufactured by the Arrowhead Mills Company, which was founded in 1960 by Frank Ford. Then from Hereford, the seat of ~DEEF Smith County. Smith is also honored for his work in South Texas with a historical marker at the entrance to Lake Casablanca International Park in Laredo. Many school districts in Texas name schools after heroes of the Texas Revolution. There are several schools across the state named for ~DEEF Smith, including Lamasi ISD's ~DEEF Smith Elementary in Richmond, Texas. In popular culture, 1915, Martyrs of the Alamo. Smith was played by Sam DeGrasse. 1939, Man of Conquest. Smith was played by Max DeHunter. 1956, The First Texan. Smith was played by Chubby Johnson. 1958, in ~DEEF Smith episode of The Adventures of Jim Bowie, ~DEEF Smith was played by Vic Perra. 1972, Los Amigos is based on Smith. Anthony Quinn played the ~DEEF Smith character. 1986, TV movie Houston, The Legend of Texas. Smith was played by Ivy Price. 1998, TNT's TV movie 2 for Texas. Smith was played by Richard Andrew Jones. 2004, Alamo. Smith was played by Michael Crabtree. 2015, Texas Rising. Smith was played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan.